My guest today is Aleric Heck. Aleric is a YouTube ads expert and founder of AdOutreach. Now, Aleric started on YouTube 10 years ago by building the largest app review channel on the platform at the time called AdFind, which had over 400,000 subscribers. He then discovered the power of YouTube ads about 5 years ago and ran highly profitable campaigns for dozens of companies around the world. And now his company, AdOutreach, has helped thousands of entrepreneurs and marketers harness the power of YouTube ads to generate a collective 8 figures in revenue. Aleric, welcome to the Go for Launch podcast.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on, Brandon. I'm excited to dive into everything.
Yeah, me too. So we're meeting for the first time, but Aleric, I have to tell the listeners, this is not the first time by far I've seen you, my man, because this is why, okay, I get pitched a lot for companies that want to be a guest on the podcast, as you can imagine. But I actually reached out personally to you. And the reason is because months ago, I was probably late at night like everybody. I was surfing YouTube, right? Looking at videos. I like to look at a lot of inspirational videos, Tony Robbins, Tom Bilyeu, different entrepreneurs and things like that. I'm not sure. I wish I knew exactly what triggered the first time I saw your face, but your ad pops up. And if I recall correctly, it was like Facebook ads beat YouTube ads, or YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time, right? And I was like, probably the first time I was like, how long does it take till I can skip this? But I saw it a couple times and I started getting hooked, right? And I'm intrigued and I'm like, who is this guy? And so I noticed you had a funnel and you explained the video for a little bit, like YouTube ads are awesome. Get in my free video webinar, blah, blah, blah. And the rest is history. But not only that, Aleric, so that was great. But then I'm over on LinkedIn, which I spent a ton of time at, and I started seeing your ads pop up there as well. Hey, bet you didn't expect to see me here. I'm like, I did not. No. So you're using retargeting, I guess, and then I started seeing you in my Facebook feed, and I'm like, this guy, he's everywhere. It's everywhere. So I had to figure out what your secret sauce was. So that's pretty much the backstory why you're on here in the first place.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm excited to dive into it because obviously I love talking about YouTube ads and that's our core expertise. But what you also experienced is, our omnipresent, I call it our omnipresent retargeting machine, essentially getting in front of you everywhere. And I think it's just so important these days. I mean, we're all, we're business owners, entrepreneurs, whether you're just launching or you've been established for a while, you need to get in front of people, not just once, right? Maybe that could have worked years ago, but not just once. You need to have those touch points again and again. Obviously, we talk about YouTube being a great first touch point because people see you on video. But then getting on, LinkedIn, Facebook, Google display ads. So you go to a website and then it's kind of loaded with banners. Which you may have seen some of those as well with kind of my face on it too. And just basically reaching people from every angle so that they have to hear your message. And then if they're the right people, then those are the ones that are going to convert. So I'm really excited to dive into that on this interview.
Thank you. Yeah, me too, because I've been doing marketing for a long time. And I would say for decades, there was a general rule of thumb that you needed to, when you mentioned touch points, you had to touch people like 7 times. In other words, they had to see your message at least 7 times before it sunk in. I think that is crap. Now, you probably have to reach somebody 70 times or more, right? You think you can throw that rule out the window and say that's no longer the case? You've got to get in front of people a lot more because of our attention deficit and all the noise that we deal with.
Exactly. That's the case. And I remember I used to have these conversations with different people about retargeting, and, they would talk about how, okay, I'm running for 7 days or 30 days or 90 days. And, they thought like 90 days is long, but what I love doing is I just retarget everyone because I know that these are the people that are interested. And obviously some people drop off the list, and obviously if they convert, then that's another story. And we can dive as deep as we want, but we even have, like, if somebody books a call with our team, then they start getting hit with just testimonials to get them obviously that next step, so that they'll sign up and, they'll go with our programs and everything. But, it's really interesting how you need to have all of these touch points, and people think about, okay, when do you stop reaching people? It's like, why would you stop reaching them? These are the people in your retargeting, apparatus that have raised their hand in some way. They've watched a video, maybe they've signed up for a webinar. you're not just going to randomly cut a ton of people, off of your email list that are actually interested. They're actually, reading your emails. And so why would you do that with your ads as well, if you can reach them from every angle? So I'm a huge, I'm very bullish on retargeting and staying constantly in front of people, because even if they're not buying today, they might be the type of person that's going to buy not just 90 days in the future, but even a year down the road. I want people to, if they think about YouTube ads or whatever it is at the time, maybe a year from now, I have something else that I've figured out, and I've actually started, helping people with these concepts of omnipresent, beyond just YouTube ads, but also people who want to be everywhere. That message might resonate a year down the road. And who else are they going to turn to other than the person that they've kept seeing again and again on every platform?
Right, like yourself, for me, right? Because I've seen you so many times now. But just really quick, before we dive into more of the nuts and bolts of YouTube specifically, you mentioned retargeting a few times, and I want to be cognizant of listeners who may not be as familiar with that. So can you, in layman's terms, just real quick, give us the bullet point speech of what is retargeting for those who may not be familiar with that concept?
Absolutely. So retargeting is taking the people that have opted into your, whether it's a lead page, your email list. So if you have something that's capturing these leads, let's say I know a lot of people who are, when they're starting out, you're building your email list. So maybe you're getting people to sign up to that. You might have a webinar or a free training or a free PDF. So that's kind of your, what's called a top of funnel conversion. So people see you for the first time and they sign up for that first thing. Or they click the link and then they go to your site. That's the first time that they found you. Then what you can do with retargeting is you take all of those people that have been to your website, and that's more middle of funnel, that's more warm retargeting, just to use proper terms here. But then you also have hot retargeting, which is all the people that actually are, in your email list. They've downloaded, a PDF, or they've signed up for a webinar, or they've taken some action on your website. You're putting all these people into essentially a bucket, an audience. And you're retargeting them, as in you're showing your ads again and again to those people that are already warmed up to you and already, kind of hot leads. They're people are interested. And so then you can start cultivating a customer or a client acquisition experience so that you can go through and educate them. You can provide some value. You can hit different angles. You can do frequently asked questions. You can hit objections and reasons that people wouldn't either book a call or purchase your product or whatever that next step you want people to take is. And so that's retargeting, is getting in front of people who have already expressed interest just again and again. And what we're talking about here is on different platforms. So, you can use YouTube to bring them in, but now you're retargeting them everywhere.
Yeah, that's great. And what I like to tell people too is think about the old school, traditional advertising that's still around. Like let's say a print ad you'd see in a magazine, or even a billboard you drive by on the highway. Well, those advertisers, they don't know which set of eyeballs saw that ad. They get aggregate traffic from the traffic department or whatever saying X number of cars pass by every day, but really you don't have any idea. Whereas with digital, like what we're talking about, somebody sees an ad on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn or wherever, they click. You can measure that. You can then cookie that person's computer. So you can then work the magic of Facebook or YouTube or whatever platform to retarget those people. So it's beautiful. Not only that, it's cheaper than trying to do that with traditional ads as well, right?
Exactly. Because you have this pool of people that are already interested, and what better way to, be able to get, clients is then, or get people to purchase your products or services or whatever you happen to be selling, right? Than to get the people that are already interested. That's the low hanging fruit. And so it's good to have that balance of, I see people go one of either way. They're like, all right, I'm doing only new people, only top of funnel. And then some people are they start to see how much low hanging fruit there is on retargeting. And I've seen people make an unfortunate mistake where they think they don't need the top of funnel anymore. That, that's important, right? You need to get in front of new people. But when you have that sweet spot, right, when you have, a strong amount of new people coming in, and obviously what I preach is YouTube ads, for that, because they see your face, they see you on video, it's kind of more of a stronger touch point, in my opinion, and also from the data and what I've seen. But you get people to come in, and then from there, you want to keep hitting those same people again and again, while also feeding that bucket of people. So now you're not just growing, the bucket of people that you're retargeting, you're growing your business at the same time you're growing, your retargeting list. People talk about your email list as a huge asset in your business, which it absolutely is. But oftentimes people overlook the retargeting list and how you can keep getting in front of those same people again and again.
Yeah, and you know what I think about? I live in the South. Alec, where are you now, by the way? Where are you based?
I'm in Boston. I'm in
Boston.
Okay,
so you're up north. I'm in the South. Yep. But down here we have this stuff on the highways and everywhere called kudzu, right? It's a weed. But if you get a kudzu weed in your yard or wherever, good luck ever getting rid of it, because it goes everywhere, right? And to me, retargeting is like kudzu, because you can take one little plant and then, multiply it instantly and give me acres worth of kudzu, right? Almost overnight. And you're like, oh my God, this is like a Stephen King nightmare. Whereas an email list, you can't really, snap your finger and triple your email list instantaneously. That takes time, right? So there's a lot of factors that, again, make retargeting so appealing. Let's talk really about, though, why you got specifically into YouTube ads, because you were doing YouTube for a while. Yes. Sounds like almost 5 years before it dawned on you, hey, ads. What about doing ads? Like you went organic to paid. And then you had this phrase that really hooked me in, right? In that first critical 5 seconds, like YouTube ads beat Facebook ads. And I'm like, wait a second. Because like most marketers for the last several years, we've all kind of been ingrained to think, whatever, regardless of what you think of Zuckerberg, whatever, Facebook is the platform, right? It's the way to go. And so a lot of marketers flock to Facebook. And if you ask 10, probably 7 out of 10 would say, yeah, Facebook ads are the way to go. But you say it opposite, right? Tell me why you say YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time.
Exactly. And the reason that we found that YouTube ads are converting so much better, especially, for people who are building your business and your entrepreneurs, oftentimes you might be the face of it, or you have a product that you're looking to demonstrate or get in front of people. And what we found is with YouTube ads, you can actually reach people who have actual intent. They're actually interested right now in what you have to offer, or they're in what I call the learner's mindset. So the learner's mindset might be an example of you're watching Tony Robbins videos, or you're watching videos about motivation, and we've also targeted that you're, a business owner who's doing that, right? Maybe in a certain, and we'll talk about this, Google's great with income brackets as well. So if you're selling B2B, you can do top income brackets, things like that. And so, if you hit all of these, trip all of these triggers, you're getting somebody who's actually interested in consuming content right now, versus on Facebook, we've all done it, right? We're just kind of scrolling by, we see something kind of casual. And the crazy thing, exactly.
It's mindless. You're just looking, it's like when you surf TV, you're just kind of scrolling, seeing what people are up to, and occasionally ads pop up. Yep. So
think about the mindset of somebody who's actually watching a video. Let's say, for us, we're targeting in front of people who are watching, obviously there's different angles we take. So sometimes we'll take business owners watching motivational videos, but other times we'll even take people top of funnel who are watching how to set up, Facebook ads, how to set up, these different types of ads that aren't even YouTube, and we'll get in front of them and talk about why YouTube's better than what they're trying to do. And so when we're doing that, we're reaching somebody who's looking and learning right now, and we reach them at the perfect moment. The other thing to think about too is Facebook's all built around an algorithm, right? And so what I've seen on Facebook is it's not just the fact that, people are kind of scrolling by. It's also the fact that you're targeting just one thing. I call it two-dimensional targeting, right? So you're targeting demographics of who that person is. You can't even do household income anymore. It's and you probably know this, Brandon. But you used to be able to do household income on Facebook. They kind of got rid of that. Now it's only zip code income, which is just you're just targeting big cities, right? You might target all of Boston or New York or whatever, but it's not the individual. And then you're layering that with interests, what people are interested in. But there's nothing about what they're doing right now. And what they're probably doing right now, like we talked about, is they're just scrolling. Yes. So the algorithm has to pick up the slack. So you're essentially praying to the algorithm that you'll reach people at the right time. Versus on YouTube, we call it a three-dimensional approach. You have the demographics, And what I like to do is layer household income, especially if you're in a B2B. So, coaches, consultants, course creators, if you're kind of in the online, kind of that online business space, having that higher income demographic. Obviously, it's different if you're, products, e-com, SaaS, that's more widespread. You don't need to do that. But the demographics of who that person is, and then you're layering it with what they're watching right now on YouTube. So the types of videos, the keywords, the topics. You could even select specific placements. So you have to be careful because sometimes, that's too narrow, right? So you want to make sure you get selections of videos. But what people don't realize you can do on YouTube is you can also layer with who somebody is. And so when people go onto YouTube just on their own, right, and they don't, because obviously we have a lot of clients that we help. This is the biggest mistake we see with people who do it on their own is they'll just do their own two different dimensions on YouTube. They do demographics and then they do what video somebody's watching. But I'll use us as an example. Is that necessarily a business owner? Is that necessarily somebody who's familiar with marketing, with funnels, and wants to grow their business? Not necessarily, especially if we're targeting, something like Tony Robbins, right? Those types of videos. And then we have that. They could just be somebody who's interested in improving their life. So if I want to make sure that this is a business owner, then you can actually have this other third dimension of audience targeting. So you could target people based on what are called affinity audiences, in-market audiences. So in the market for advertising, right? You could target people who have an affinity. You can even type in keywords. So that's kind of like the interest-based targeting on Facebook. You could put in, Gary V. You could put in ClickFunnels, right? So let's say we want to get people who, use ClickFunnels or business owner, et cetera. You can even target people based on websites they've been on in the past, as long as Google Analytics is installed, which is the majority of websites anyways.
Right.
So now you're creating what I call this perfect triangle of your ideal client, your ideal, buyer. Now, you could be a little bit looser with this. If you're in e-com, we have clients who do, e-com, they're going a little bit more broad because it's more mass market. But especially if you're in kind of more of a B2B or higher ticket space, this is essential. You're taking that demographics of who that person is. So maybe top tier top income bracket. Then you go over here, they're watching videos on growing their business, on, motivation, whatever it is. And then you're taking people who have been to clickfunnels.com before, who have been to these different websites that are related. This is just an example for us. That's the perfect buyer that, going to potentially come through. So that's a 3D YouTube ads. And that's one of the main reasons why YouTube is going to outperform, because it's not relying on an algorithm as much so as it's actually intent based.
I love that. And I'm so glad that you said intent-based, because I was going to make you say it if you didn't, because I've heard you talk about that before, and I wanted listeners to understand that. And also, I want others to understand as well, if you don't already know this, Google owns YouTube, right? Google is the #1 search engine in the world, and the #2 search engine is YouTube. And that is why a lot of organic search results show YouTube videos high up on page 1, right? But they're collecting all of this data between Google searches and YouTube searches, like Aleric's saying here, that they know that I'm interested in all the stuff you already said. So I like looking at ClickFunnels, right? Probably because I just read Russell Brunson's newest book over the summer, right? I just did a review of it on the podcast a couple months ago. Trying to get him on here, by the way. He would be great. Russell, if you're listening. But he's going to come on. He took a break this summer, right, for various reasons. But anyway, like, I'm interested. So not only do you know that I'm of a certain income, and probably Google knows what type of profession I'm in and the interests that I have, but then also you layer in the videos that I'm actually watching, and the golden triangle, as you call it, is awesome to get my intent out on the table. So are there any pros or cons versus, one, you said people make mistakes. Are there some things that they overlook, that with the YouTube targeting options, Aleric?
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing so I'll talk about the targeting, then I'll talk about the video itself, because those are two big mistakes that I see people make. When it comes to the targeting, it's like what I said, people trade 2 dimensions for another 2 dimensions, right? So on Facebook, they're so used to, doing the demographics, which is basically the information about the person, and then layering on like interests, or maybe they, obviously I know a lot of people who are just doing like Gary Vee, or they're doing a lookalike list, but there's nothing that's actually who's actually, like, what are they actually doing, right? So it's more about what they're interested in, but not what they're doing right now. On YouTube, people do 2 dimensions, but they do the opposite one. So they do the demographics, and then they'll just select some videos, or they just do placement. So there's a lot of people out there that are teaching, kind of freebie YouTube, like kind of the beginner, very basics. And all they're showing is how to do placement ads, how to take this video and put it in your video and put it in front of this video, this video, this video. But here's the thing. Do you really want to pick every single video you're going to target your ad in front of? Or, because the problem with that is you need thousands of videos to get the volume of scale you want. So what people realize is, wait a second, I've got this low-hanging fruit. Because if you pick specific videos, that's low-hanging fruit. You're going to get, people who are really interested. But if you take those specific videos, it's not scalable. You have to find hundreds and hundreds of videos, and there are softwares for it, but you have to constantly recycle it because new videos are being added to YouTube all the time. So then people realize, oh, you need to do keywords, and keywords are a collection of videos. So a keyword could be YouTube ads or Facebook ads, or obviously in like if you're selling something in fitness, it could be how to lose weight or how to get fit or how to get in shape, things like that, right? So those are keywords, and those keywords are attached to all kinds of videos, a wide variety of videos, not just videos that exist today, but any video that gets published in the future with that same keyword. But what people realize there is they've traded now scalability for results. So they can scale that, how to lose weight, or, Facebook ads keyword, or grow my business keyword as much as they want. But are those all of the ideal, people that they're looking to purchase? So you need to add a layering to it. You're basically going to a medium layered audience, right? Or a medium layered set of keywords. You go over here and you layer it with audiences. So now it's not just somebody who's watching a video about Facebook ads or how to lose weight. It's somebody who's also a business owner. They're also into ClickFunnels. Maybe they've read Traffic Secrets, or they have a ClickFunnels.com account, which you can do what's called a URL affinity. So you're basically taking who this person is as a business owner, somebody who's interested in ClickFunnels, taking those interests, the same type of interest you might have over on Facebook, right? You take those interests, you're layering it with the video that they're watching right now today, and the fact that this person is in the location that you want, that could just be the whole United States or a more specific location, and they're in the income bracket that can afford your services. And you're basically pinpointing that ideal buyer every time in a fashion that's scalable. I call it 3-dimensional YouTube ads targeting. And that literally right there, and I'm happy to kind of unveil this, that's literally the secret to, multiple 8 figures now in client sales using YouTube ads, is that 3D targeting approach.
Okay, well, I think there's a lot to unpack there, because I'm taking notes, and I hope everybody else is going to go back and listen to this carefully, because I made the mistake before of targeting specific videos, like you said. And again, I've made the rookie mistakes too of going, hey, I'm going to target Tony Robbins videos, or like you said, Gary Vaynerchuk, these big names, right? And then I realized, oh, you know what? There's probably 100,000 other people that just did the same thing. So how do I think with my small budget, I'm even going to get in that ad? It might be 3 a.m. in, Karachi or something. It's like, I'm probably not, my ad's not going to run that much, right? On top of a Tony Robbins video, unless I'm either paying a bunch of money or for other factors. But let's move on to another topic, because I'm fascinated with the way your psychology works, Aleric. That hook, right? A lot of people, because they love to hit that skip button, and you only have a couple seconds to sort of grab somebody's attention. But you got mine, and I looked, I probably watched 15 seconds and then 30 seconds, and then suddenly I'm watching almost the whole thing, and I'm clicking on visit advertiser, and I'm getting in your funnel. So talk about that psychology that you teach clients about how to grab somebody, because you're interrupting their day when they're watching that video that they went to see.
This is one of the biggest components. This is the other thing that, sometimes people get wrong, is with the video side of it. And the hook is so important. There's 3 main components of a winning YouTube ad. It's hook, educate, call to action. All 3 are very important, but obviously what I would argue one of the most important is that hook, right? So you want to pull in the right person, but you actually want the wrong person to skip. Because on YouTube, you only pay, and you probably know this, but some of the listeners might not know this, you only pay if somebody watches 30 seconds of the ad on YouTube, which is incredibly valuable. That means if they skip the ad between 5 and 29 seconds, you don't pay for them. You only pay if they're actually engaged and interested. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you pull in the right person, but you push away the wrong person. You want the wrong person to skip, so you don't pay for them, and you want the right person to keep watching. And so the way that you do that is you take a hook that has either poses a question, it piques curiosity, and it also could be something that it creates an us versus them, right? It's kind of divisive.
Yeah,
It's
YouTube versus Facebook. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's been our two highest performing hooks that we have, and the one that you mentioned is the one that we're using more these days. The first one that we had was more of an intrigue hook. So it was along the lines of, what if you could ethically hijack your competitor's traffic and send it directly into your own funnel? In this video, I'm going to show you how you can do just that using YouTube video ads.
And by the way, I've seen like half a dozen other people do exactly that same line, which they probably stole from you or somebody, everybody's borrowing from each other now. Yep.
That ad, I did see a bunch of people kind of take that, because I ran so much money that ad, and obviously you gotta tweak. So we still run some of that, but now we've kind of shifted also the messaging is a little bit different. So we've, broadened. So at that time too, we were really doubling down on ClickFunnels, and, because as I was growing, and this is what you teach, right? You find your niche and then you expand, right? And so we were really working with mostly, and we still have, that is still the majority of the people who are, kind of like online, course creators, funnel creators, business, like basically online businesses. But now more and more, we're getting more, kind of other businesses that are looking to grow their advertising and more, either traditional video businesses, et cetera. But what I found was, with that ad, it had language and jargon that pulls in the right person, but other people don't know. You talk about funnels, and you're not in this space. You don't know what you're talking. You're like, what? Like you're talking about funnels, ethically hijacking traffic. If people don't know that traffic means web traffic and not like traffic on the interstate or whatever, then
you don't want to pay for exactly. You don't want to pay for those people at all.
Exactly. So that was the first ad. That worked really well. And like you said, different people kind of got inspiration from that is what I'll say. But that one, it's actually kind of funny. When I used to, go to the Funnel Hacking Live and stuff, people would be like, hijack YouTube ads, stuff like that. It's kind of funny.
And now
we recently, we always are testing new hooks, right? But recently the hook that's really been performing well, and I think this is right now because, a lot of people are ingrained in Facebook ads, but they're getting tired of the roller coaster effect. The cost of leads going up and down. And it's because it's an algorithm, right? Think about it. If you are targeting a keyword and that this keyword, let's say you're in I don't want to just use myself as an example. Let's say you're in the fitness space and you're targeting how to lose weight as a keyword. And then you're also maybe business professionals that are looking to lose weight of a certain income bracket. And you have some type of, higher ticket package to help those people. We've got clients like that. If all three of those things work, you're not relying much on an algorithm. You can scale that linearly, and maybe there always is a little bit of diminishing returns, but it's different than the huge kind of swings that you get from Facebook, because all of a sudden on Facebook, your ads are now serving at 3 a.m., and they might not even be in the news feed. They might be, kind of, if you don't check your settings, they might be other placements and stuff. So on YouTube, there's so much value to being able to pinpoint exactly what you target. But to loop back, we were talking about the hooks. The other hook that's now working really well is YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. Let's face it, lead costs are going through the roof on Facebook. In this video, I'll show you how you can cut those in half using YouTube video ads. Let's hop over to my computer screen. So it's short, sweet, to the point, but it creates this divide. If people don't want to hear what I have to say, then they'll skip it. But if people are like, they're like, oh, I can see that, or no, I don't agree with that, but I want to hear what he has to say, they start watching, and then I start proving it, and then I have them, and I've hooked them. And so that's the importance of a hook, right? It has to be a little bit either piquing curiosity or a little bit kind of divisive back and forth in a fun way, right? It's not like, it's not saying anything negative. It's basically, though, saying, here's my opinion, and I'm going to back it up with this video. And it gets people to want to watch it and hear my message.
Yeah, it's a little clickbaity, but hey, it works, right?
Exactly.
Again, because of that psychology, like tell me more, or I don't agree, or whatever. All right, let me ask you about a couple of objections, because I'm sure you get a lot of objections with people, especially around video specifically.
Yeah.
Number one is, what about people who are just terrified of video and they go, I can't do video. I don't know how. What do you say to those people?
That's a great question, because honestly, what we found is natural works best. I found that the biggest thing that people are, worried about is it not being polished, or, they don't have the best camera equipment, or, they don't feel like they look the best on camera, or whatever it happens to be. But I wouldn't worry about that aspect, because think about it, right? We've been taught time and time again to tune out advertisements that look like advertisements. The perfect, pristine person that, it's very clear that, things have been either touched up, or they just like whatever they did, like they're kind of coming out and they're like professional actors. We've been accustomed to tuning that out. Think about it. If you're watching TV, for instance, what do you do when the commercials come on? You're going to go over, and fix yourself a snack or whatever it is, right? Same thing on YouTube. People have their mouse hovered over the skip ad button. But what happens if you have an ad that feels in place, feels like a video somebody would discover on YouTube? Now, YouTube ads beat Facebook ads every time. I mean, it's divisive, but I'm saying it in a way in front of the camera that feels like it's the start of a YouTube video, right?
Yeah.
It's not some overly produced thing. And so if you do a video naturally, remember, you're only paying if people watch 30 seconds. So people are going to resonate with you. And some of the best ads that we have are people who just picked up an iPhone and a gimbal and they walk down, walk down the street, or they film it in their office, and it feels natural. Think about it too. One of the classic examples, love him or hate him, Tai Lopez. His was literally a gimbal, and he might not have had a gimbal. I think he was just holding the phone, and he's just turning it around. And he's got the Lamborghini.
Yeah, he's got all the cars and all the stuff.
All of that. But it was filmed in a natural way.
Right.
He put so much thought into it. So what people don't realize, like I could tell all the things, and I'm sure obviously if you love marketing, you can tell all the things that he's doing, but the way the actual way that he's filming it and the way that you can film it too is natural. With an iPhone and a gimbal, being yourself, and the people that resonate with that are going to be the people that convert.
Yeah, agreed, man. There's some other guys that really sort of stand out to me, top of mind. Ted McGrath, who teaches people how to make money online and do speaking engagements and stuff like that. And also Billy Jean. Billy Jean does marketing. Also, the same style, like you said, on a selfie stick or gimbal or whatever, just kind of walking around. So that objection's gone. Grab your phone, right? Your smartphone is the best camera you need right there. Well, how about if I come to you and say, yeah, but Aleric, I'm kind of in a commodity business. I don't know if I should spend money on ads because, how am I going to differentiate myself enough on YouTube?
Yeah, that's a great.
Yeah,
that's a great question too, and it obviously depends on the type of business that you're talking about. So e-com, or it could be something along the lines of real estate, insurance, mortgages, right, where you kind of are more locally based. And so I'll talk about kind of first the e-com products, kind of things that are serving that side. What we found on YouTube is if you have something, a product that's demonstratable, that you can actually showcase it and show it off, that is going to be some of the best performing products. Like we have a client right now that literally sells ocarinas, and he's got like these like Zelda ocarina, like all kind. He's like a huge store of a wide collection. And one of the reasons that type of video works is there's people trying to either learn how those work, or maybe they're looking at like videos about like Zelda or these different like people like ocarinas, right? And you get in front of that, and it's demonstratable. Not only are you showing people how to do that, but you have a video. And the other thing too is we have one, called Pug Life that was like a harness, and this was a little while ago, but she came through and basically it's a harness for dogs. It's going to make sure that it doesn't actually hurt them. It's not like a leash. It's more of a harness. Right. And there's actually unfortunately been some knockoffs and stuff, but she was like one of the industry leaders in that. And it's one of those things where if you demonstrate this and you show how this isn't going to harm the dog, and this is like a video, if it plays well on video, then that is going to be a campaign that you can really scale. And so that's what I would say with something like that. Now, on the other side, You have something different with real estate, with mortgage insurance. We have a wide variety of people in those spaces as well. Now, obviously, we've got a lot of online coaches, consultants, course creators. We've already talked about those, so don't get me wrong. These are not, this is like, we're talking about some of the other types of businesses here. But the people that fall into those categories, think about it. It's being the only person usually in your area that's running YouTube ads in front of everybody. If you're trying to find a realtor and you're looking at tours of homes on YouTube, or there's literally a tag in Google that's in the market for a new home. Mm-hmm. And you know how they know that? Because, on YouTube, because Google owns YouTube and they know what you've been searching. Yep. They know you're in the market for a new home.
Again,
and
intent.
So,
yeah.
Exactly, intent. And so if you get in front of people who are in the market for a new home, and it's not just searching that on YouTube too. It's if you've searched that on Google recently, you'll be put in this bucket that you can then target in a local area. Now you're popping in front of them again and again, and it can be natural. It should be natural. If it doesn't feel overly produced, and you're recording a video and you're the local realtor and you name drop the town that the person watching is in. Yeah. When's the last time you've seen an ad of somebody in your town on YouTube?
Right. That's pretty cool.
It's a game changer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So I got to mention another one of your clients, which I discovered when I was looking at your bio and stuff before the show,
yes.
Kind of prepping up. And I really laughed out loud, honestly, because I see this guy on there. His name's Dave Emons. He's one of your clients.
Yes.
This guy's an artist in Vermont, right? Not the most photogenic dude. He looks like kind of a hippie artist type, but the reason why I probably saw his videos is because, number one, of your good work, showing him what to do, right? But I was actually working with an artist as a client with Go for Launch months ago. So I was on YouTube looking for some ideas for her. He starts popping up. And his whole spiel was, hey, if you're an artist, are you tired of the whole thing where you got to schlep to these shows and put up the tents? And he shows one in the wind blowing away. And it's like, don't you think there's an easier way? Don't you feel like you should be able to sell online? And of course, every single artist is going, hell yeah, I should be able to sell online. I'm tired of this. Plus, with COVID now, they can't do their art shows, period. The artists I was working with was doing physical workshops. Those are all kaput, right? Yep. So Dave is brilliant, and I've seen his ads constantly because he's retargeting me all the time.
Yeah.
But in a case like his, I perceive that he's selling courses. Like, I'm going to teach you how I got out of the rat race and became an artist selling online, right? Now, I'm also guessing that his product may be in the range of $1,000 or, not $20, right? But what do you say about the objection where somebody goes, okay, well, I do feel like I have something that's unique and different, and I'd like to advertise, but gosh, I just think it seems like it would be expensive doing YouTube ads.
Yeah.
Is that, and what do you say to those people? Not necessarily,
that's a great question.
Right?
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on that too. Obviously, I love that you're bringing up David Emons. He is one of my favorite people. He's been a long-standing client with ours, and I just love whenever we've just been scaling him up, and it's just incredible. With one of the things that because he sells a course, a $997 course. I remember he actually recorded a video. You might have seen this one. He has he's done like 5 testimonials by this point for us.
I saw the one where he was standing like at the Grand Canyon, and he was like, I've been hiking for 3 weeks with my daughter, and I got to get going before the sun goes down. But real quick, it's the only reason I can be hiking for 3 weeks in the Grand Canyon is because of Aleric. So kudos, congratulations.
Yeah. Oh, right? Yeah. And it's the YouTube ads are running. And I remember when he told me about the trip, I'm like, that's awesome. And I was like, all right, when are we going to check in? Take a look at some of the ads. He's like, well, I was thinking I'd check in once or twice. And I was like, all right, let's do it. But the ads, the thing is, because obviously you want to check a little bit more often than that in general. But here's the thing, the way that the ads are set up, they were still bringing in 4x ROAS, $997 course while he was hiking the Grand Canyon, and he's spending over, I think at the time he was spending around $1,500 a day. Now he's over $2,000, getting up to $2,500 a day in ad spend, and making 3-4x ROAS. Obviously some campaigns more than others, and so it's just one of those things, where. And he has like you said, his course right now is just so important because people can't make it out to these different areas. But it's just incredible what we've been able to do to him for him. But think about it. he's targeting a niche of people. These are artists, right, that are looking to figure out how to sell their artwork online. It just goes to show the niches that you can find. But you asked, what if somebody has something that's $20 or something that's low ticket? So we've worked with different people that have low ticket products. Sorry, I thought I heard something. Low ticket products, and those work on YouTube, but things have to be dialed in more. So that's what I would say, is making sure that your funnel is a little bit more dialed in. We've worked with people who do, to make sure that that's the case. It also should be a little bit more mass market if that is the case, if it's $20 or $50. But here's the thing. If you think about it, if you get in front of that right person and you show what you have to offer, are they going to take action if they see a video where you capture their attention, you educate, you have a call to action? I'm not going to blanket say here, because this would be, this would not be, that would not be right to blanket say here that it's going to work for everybody that has a $20, product or whatever it happens to be. Anybody who tells you that is lying to you, or they don't know as much as they say they do. But it can absolutely work for a $20 or $50 low ticket product. But what I will say is the rest of the funnel needs to be dialed in for the YouTube ads to be able to plug and go. So you should make sure, now you can launch with YouTube ads, even before you even do anything with Facebook. That's not what I'm saying. But you need to make sure that you've tested your funnel, that you have the right market fit. There's more leeway with a $997 course, or with a multi-$1,000 coaching or consulting package, or whatever it happens to be. There's more leeway there than it is with a lower ticket item. So you need to make sure things are dialed in. Same thing with products, right? You don't want to just have that drop shipped product from China that's the same as every other one that people have seen. But if you have something that's really unique and innovative, that is what's going to sell. So you need to make sure you have a good product or service that you're combining with the YouTube ads.
Okay, that's so great advice. Thank you so much, Aleric. Well, tell people that are listening how you help coach people on YouTube ads, and how does the process work, and where can they go to find more information?
Absolutely. So what we have is we have a done with you process. And I found that works the best, because oftentimes, most people fall into one camp or the other, right? They either have a course and those are kind of one size fits all, and you're trying to learn everything, but there's no support. Nobody's actually helping you set this up. On the other side, you have agencies, and the problem with them is they want to charge fees forever to manage the ads. You don't even know what's going on. It's like a black box, right? What we found is we want to take the best components, get rid of the worst, and have a hybrid done with you model where we're training you on how everything works. And we have, trainings on how it works. You have lifetime access to, we go through that, but we're also hands-on helping you set everything up. We've got copywriters on our team writing your scripts with you on a call. We're actually setting up your campaigns inside of Google Ads, which is YouTube ads, and getting the campaigns targeted to the right people, right time, who's actually going to be able to buy, and then working with you hands-on for a period of time to make sure that your campaigns are actually bringing in conversions and scalable, and you're able to reach the right people. And so it's a done with you hands-on process. If that sounds interesting, if you guys, you're like, I've heard enough, I want to, see if that's a good fit, you can go to our website. It's AdOutreach, AdOutreach.com, AdOutreach.com/apply, and you can schedule a time to speak with our team. If you want more information, though, if you want to just kind of soak in it a little bit more, maybe see our webinar, things like that, I actually put together a gift page for all the podcasts I go on. It's AdOutreach.com/gift. And if you go on there, you'll see a link to our webinar, a training on YouTube ads for high ticket sales, and even a link to our Facebook group, YouTube Ads for Entrepreneurs, where we're constantly posting value and providing info on YouTube ads.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for offering the gift to everybody listening to Go for Launch podcast. And this has been very helpful for me, and I hope many others as well. Aleric, thank you so much. I look forward to seeing your face continually bombard me in my feeds as time goes on. And again, Dave Emmons and others, now I'll start having to look for those. I go, hey, there's another Aleric client, because that 4 times return on investment sounds pretty good. What by the way, what is the typical? I know you can't say typical, but
yeah,
everybody wants to know, if I give you $1 to spend on a YouTube ad,
yep,
can I make $2 back or whatever? Is there a general benchmark that you say you should, if you do the right things, be able to at least double your money or get your money back, yep, plus 10%, or what?
That's the rule. So the minimum we want to be at is the 1 to 2 rule. Every dollar that goes in is $2 back. That's a minimum. The average is going to be around that 3 to 4x depending, and that's like all industries. But we also have, people who are in these courses, coaching, consulting, maybe high ticket industries. We have people that are 7, 8x. We've had people that are 10x and above. I remember we had a client come in who was doing about $100 to $200 a day in ad spend. And within their first 3 weeks, they hit $100,000 in sales.
Wow.
And it just goes to show. Now, that's not the case for everybody, but it just goes to show that, with YouTube ads, if you get in front of the right people and you have an incredible program and product or service or whatever it is, your audience is out there on YouTube, and you're just waiting to be captured.
Excellent. Well, Aleric, thanks so much again. Everybody go check him out over at adoutreach.com/gift and get your free stuff.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Brandon.